Hi there, my name is Grandmaster Nick Pert, and this is my DVD on D4, D5, C4. After D4, D5, C4 is, I think, objectively the strongest move, and playing this kind of main lines is really the best way to put pressure on your opponent. You can, of course, learn sidelines, and people like to take some shortcuts, but in this DVD, I'm really focusing on trying to find lines that put a lot of pressure on Black's position, and variations where it's actually quite hard for Black to find equality. I know there's a fair amount to cover, but hopefully it's been broken down chapter by chapter, and this will give you a kind of a good overall view of how to play against D4, D5. It took quite a long time to do it, so I hope you appreciate it and we'll learn something from it. Maybe I'll just quickly run through the variations that I covered in the DVD, and that way you can make a decision whether they're interesting for you or not. So to start off with, after D4, D5, C4, I looked at the Queen's Gambit accepted, D takes C4, and I'm focusing on the line 3, E4, which is a line which is relatively new even to me. And after E4, because I think it's probably the strongest line, all the various Black responses, so Knight F6, Knight C6, E5, C5, B5, all these lines, just considered all of them, different chapters. Then after that, I looked at the Queen's Gambit declines as well, so lines where Black's playing with E6. And here I was playing Knight C3 for White. After the move Knight C3, the kind of main variations are moves like Bishop E7, the Queen's Gambit declines. Knight F6, also sort of Queen's Gambit decline type position. Also the semi-Tarrasch after Knight F6, which is when you take on D5 and then take back with the Knight. So we looked at those ones, but also some of the slightly less well-known ones. So we had obviously Bishop E7, Knight F6, A6 we looked at, which is kind of a bit of a rare move. Also had a quick look at Bishop B4, playing almost in the style of a Rogozin, how to play against the move Bishop B4. Looked into the triangle system, that's fairly popular these days, and tried to come up with some ideas for White in a triangle. And then also there were the Tarrasches, so the lines with 3C5, and after C takes D5, either E takes D5, a kind of Tarrasch, or the move C takes D4, which is the Henning-Schauer Gambit. So we looked at these kind of positions as well. So I think it's a fairly kind of extensive review. I'm hoping there's nothing I've missed out there of how to play in D4, D5. After C4, I also had a look at the Slav, which is one of my own personal favourites. I obviously did a DVD on the Slav myself. I played that a lot, so tried to find some ways to gain an advantage for White here. And I opted to go for the exchange Slav because I think it's cuts down a bit on the learning, and came up with a couple of ideas that might be able to give White a slight edge. After Bishop F4, Knight C6, E3, focusing on lines such as A6 and Bishop F5, I guess, were the two main lines that we looked at, and some quite new ideas that have come out in both of those variations. Hopefully they'll give you a chance to try and get a small edge, but obviously the positions are quite solid, but it might be some ideas that are interesting. Also had a look at symmetrical position, 2C5, the Baltic defense, Bishop F5, the Albin counter gambit with E5, and also the Chigorin with Knight C6. So it's a kind of quite full review of all the lines, really, or most of the major lines anyway, after D4, D5, C4. And if you are looking to either improve your D4 repertoire, this should hopefully have a few chapters that are interesting for you. Or if you're looking to maybe take up D4, this will give you a really good overview of how to play against D5, which is one of the that covers a major amount of the theory that is needed in D4, D5. So hopefully this is interesting, and you can learn a lot from it.